What's up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingNudes.com. Welcome back to another one of our videos. For this video, I thought we would do just specifically for the Breeders' Cup Classic rankings. Both Jared and I do rank the top 10 Breeders' Cup Classic horses every year for the Breeders' Cup as they kind of, have a countdown of who's going to be the top horses going into the big event. So what I'll do, I'll show you my top 10. I'll show you Jared's top 10. And I'll show you the Breeders' Cup all together, the poll, the top 10, and then we'll just kind of talk about each one of them from there. All right, let's get it going here. I'm going to pull this up on the screen first, and let's talk about my top 10 horses this week. Thought I would just do a standalone video for this because of all that happened. So I'm just going to run through mine and Jared's kind of quickly, and then I'll put the actual Breeders' Cup graphic up with everybody's votes, and then I'll kind of talk about it a little bit more individually. So Sovereignty, number 1 for me. Fierceness up to number 2. Sierra Leone, number 3. Mindframe, 4. Journalism, number 5. I will say 6 through 10, you could, flip-flop them any old way you want, and it wouldn't really bother me where you had them. 6, Forever Young for me. 7, Highland Falls. 8, Baeza. 9, Antiquarian. And 10, White Abarrio. You can probably guess. I'm kind of just struggling to find somebody once I get to number 10, but I don't know. Threw White Abarrio in there. I mean, part of the race, he was carrying 2 jockeys, so maybe he had a little bit of excuse in the jockey club. All right, those are my 10 there. Like I said, I'll throw Jared's up on the screen now. Like I said, we'll just kind of give you an idea of who each one of us kind of have, and then we'll get the full poll here. So this is Jared's, and this is Sovereignty 1, Mindframe 2, Fierceness number 3, Sierra Leone 4, Journalism 5, Nisos number 6, Antiquarian 7, Highland Falls 8, Forever Young 9, Baeza number 10. So, there's not a whole lot a difference between his and mine. And, before you, I saw somebody saying, oh man, this was before last week, ranking Fierceness is a joke or whatever. The whole thing's a joke, right? I mean, we're just ranking. It's just for fun. It's really not something that should be taken just all that seriously. The Breeders' Cup likes to do it. It kind of hypes up the race, but it doesn't really matter, right? It's just a kind of a fun way to talk about the horses instead of just listening them one by one. So with that being said, this is the Breeders' Cup top rankings here. As you see, Sovereignty number 1, Fierceness number 2, Sierra Leone 3, Mindframe 4, Journalism number 5, Forever Young 6, Nisos number 7, Baeza 8, Antiquarian 9, and Highland Falls number 10. All right, let's talk about the 10 horses here. I'll just leave this up on the screen. We'll talk about the 10 horses here. Whoops, as I lost it. Well, hold on, folks. Let's get it back. There it is. All right, so I'll start at the bottom. So 10 is Highland Falls. And look, I think we kind of know at this point what Highland Falls is. I mean, this is a horse that's steady, right? And if he finds a field that doesn't have some of the heavy hitters in it, I think he'll win. But unfortunately, you go into the Breeders' Cup Classic, he's got to kind of rank him around 10th, right? At this point, good horse though, and I think if there was a world where it was a little bit easier of a spot, like maybe the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I don't know if he wants to go a mile or not, but a race like that, I think he looks better in. The Classic, I just think he's a cut below kind of those top horses. I said Baeza 8, Antiquarian 9. It actually looks like a tie at number 8. I misspoke. So let's talk about Antiquarian, the winner of the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Of course, that was a race where Mindframe lost the jockey incredibly. Irad Ortiz, he tried everything he could, including getting on White Abarrio for a half second to try to bounce back to Mindframe. It didn't work. He fell off. And so, and then Sierra Leone kind of had to dodge Irad Ortiz, and it kind of got him off stride a little bit. Long story short, Antiquarian wins. Now, he does receive a 108 Beyer speed figure, and this is a horse that kind of cost himself in the first 2 races of his season. The Blame Stakes there at Churchill Downs, and then, of course, the Suburban at Saratoga. Just lost ground where he shouldn't have in the turns. Blew the turn completely in the Blame and lost ground on both turns in the Suburban. Less of that, and he was able to get the job done. He was still a little goofy down the lane, cocking his head towards the crowd, but he does get the job done. So Antiquarian, a horse I've liked for a while, and I don't think he's a Breeders' Cup Classic winner, but it's nice to see him get that big win. Baeza, we're going to see him in the Pennsylvania Derby, so we'll see what happens there. It's kind of weird to have him on the list. He has just 1 win, but the losses have been pretty good losses, if there is such a thing. Number 7 is Nisos. I didn't rank him because after he had to scratch out of the Pacific Classic, he has a little foot issue. They're going to run him in the Goodwood at Santa Anita, or at least try to later on here in about a month. But Bob Baffert said after that race, he could be pointed to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile instead of the Classic. I thought that was very interesting. The favorite of the Pacific Classic, at least the morning line favorite, scratches. They're going to try to get him to that race at Santa Anita, and then it's either going to be the Classic or the Dirt Mile. So I was kind of out on him as far as a Classic horse this week. Number 6 is Forever Young. And of course, a horse that's come over here and done, hit the board in two of our biggest races, the Kentucky Derby and last year's Classic. He won the Saudi Cup as well this year. Haven't seen him in a while. I'd say I'll have one prep and come over here. So he's kind of just a de facto, hey, he's pointing for the race, so we'll keep him there. Number 5 is Journalism. I think some are kind of down on him. They felt like he should have, was able to win the Pacific Classic, and he did not do it. Fierceness was able to beat him. But look, Fierceness at his absolute best. I just think he's just a little bit better than than Forever Young, and also from Journalism. So, I get it, and I get it. I understand it. But that being said, I do think Journalism still ran well in the Pacific Classic. And if you're down on him, like I say, I get it. But again, I thought he ran well in a losing effort. The 4th ranked horse is Mindframe. What do you say? He's 3 for 3 in races where the jockey stayed on this year. This was a big prep in the Jockey Club, and Irad falls off. Hopefully the horse is okay. Irad somehow escapes major injury. That was amazing and a miracle, really. I guess Mindframe's fine. I haven't heard any reports that he's not. He's running loose on the track. It's just terrifying anytime that happens. But I guess he's okay, and I guess maybe we're going to see him. I hope we see him at some point. But it's not ideal what's happened. So I'm a little bit worried about him moving forward into the Classic, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Number 3, Sierra Leone. I mean, what are you going to do? He's just a drop back, make one run. And sometimes when the pace is really hot, he gets there, and sometimes he doesn't. So certainly the winner last year is in pretty good form. He ran okay in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, but, just didn't get the job done. And I do think it hurt him that he kind of had to hurdle Irad Ortiz Jr. on the track there, and it happened early in the race, but did cause him to lose stride a little bit. He recovered okay. He ran an okay second, but he's going to need a fast pace. We just know that. Number 2 is Fierceness. The horse, like I said, you kind of felt dumb for ranking him. I had him like 8th, I think. I don't really remember, and just kind of kept him in there. It's like, okay, we'll see what happens with him. And really everything in the Pacific Classic that they talked about with Fierceness that they absolutely don't want to do happened to him. He had trouble early, all his own doing. He tried to run towards the temporary rail, and Johnny V had to grab him, and that was a mess. And at that point, I thought, oh, gosh, he's a mess out there. And then they've been saying, hey, don't put him inside horses. He doesn't like to race behind horses. And now, again, because of really all his fault, he's inside horses. Johnny V has no chance to do anything other than just keep him inside and hope he fires. Johnny V pushes the button, and that horse splits horses. Another thing they didn't really like to, they said, oh, we don't like to do that. We have to keep him away from all the other horses. He just splits 2 horses right away, gets right to the lead, and kicks on. Throw your hands up. Sometimes it's like, oh, we got him figured out. He's got to do this. He's got to do that. Remember in the Whitney, when the rabbit kind of passed him on the outside, they blame that on the loss. Like, oh, well, I just threw him off. A horse passed him. And it's like, geez, this horse has to have everything his own way. And then he does something like that in the Pacific Classic where, based on everything we've been told by his jockey and his trainer, he's done. He's not going to fire at all. He is completely unhappy. That didn't bother him a bit. And he just dominated the race. I don't think they have any idea what this horse is going to do. And I know as a handicapper, I have no idea race to race what he's going to do. He's insane. So, but that performance in Pacific Classic was awesome. I have no idea if he can do that again in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He may run 8th, but if he puts that together again, I mean, he's going to be tough to beat. It was very, very impressive. And then finally, number 1 is Sovereignty. And with all the craziness that happened at Del Mar and Saratoga when it comes to the Breeders' Cup Classic, it just makes Sovereignty look a lot better in my eyes, even better, I should say. So, yeah, Sovereignty number 1. He is an easy number 1 for me. And that's not to say that it's locked up, or he's locked into my pick, or there's no way I'll pick against him. I'm just saying, as we sit here, if I was handicapping the race today, I would be pretty quick to just say, yep, nope, that's the one, and move on. So Sovereignty, number one for me. All right, that'll do it for this video, guys. I just wanted to jump in here and talk about the Breeders' Cup Classic a little bit. It is still shaping up to be a very good race. It's maybe lost a little luster. I think it's fair to say that after the weirdness of kind of the weekend, but it's still shaping up to be a very, very good race and should be extremely entertaining. All right, guys, I'll do this video. Hit that like button if you like it. Hit subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alert anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, keep tuning in for more Breeders' Cup news.